Hello aspirants, welcome to Time YouTube channel for bank exams. Today's topic for discussion is paraforming questions for IBPS PO and Clerk Prelim exams. Before we continue with our discussion, here is a small request. Please do subscribe to our YouTube channel Time for Bank SSCCGLE exams if you have not subscribed yet. And let's go to the topic. Paraformation. How do you deal with paraformation questions? As you all know, you are given some statements which are not in the right order, which are jumbled, and your task is to rearrange these statements in the proper order to make a meaningful paragraph. Alright, now let's see how to do this. First thing, you have to look at the clues. What are the clues in this? Right? While reading the statements, you have to look for the clues. What is the first clue? Topic of the paragraph. Topic of the paragraph. Right. After reading 2 or 3 sentences, you know what the topic is. Fine. Second, tone of the statements. Tone of the statements, or say tone of the sentences. Alright. So, how is this going to help you tone of the sentences? If there is a conjunction like but, tone, right? But the physical space to do this is limited. Limited is positive or negative? Negative. Do you understand? So, but to do this is negative. But is used to join one positive and one negative idea. Clear? So, since this sentence is negative, the previous one should be positive. You get it? So, that's how tone of the statements help you in combining the statements or in forming the pairs. Understood? Then, third one, pronouns and conjunctions. Straight structural clues. Pronouns and conjunctions. Right. What are the pronouns that help us? He, she, it, this, that, these, those. Right, these conjunctions help us to form the pairs. Clear? Right, he, she, it, they, this, that, these, those help us to connect the statements. Like, you know, between these two. You get it? Pronouns. Right, and then last but not the least is flow of thought. Flow of thought. You should see how the author is developing the idea. Flow of thought or idea flow. So, look at these clues. I have shown you some of the clues. So, this is how you have to start with. Clear? Right. And then next, what should we do next? Right. We have got the clues. Next, strategy. What is the strategy? How to do it? It's not, you know, you just look at it, right? Read the statements and just say D, C, A, B. No, that doesn't work. Alright. So, what should you do? First thing, while you are reading the statements, you should identify the opening statement. Identify the opening statement. Among the given statements, which is good as an opening statement. Alright. So, which is a perfect opening statement. Right. Identify the opening statement. Now, look at it and tell me what can be the opening statement here. Alright. First thing, first step. Second, identify the closing statement. Among the given statements, which is the first one, which is the last one. Identify the closing statement. And do remember, we are not writing an ideal paragraph. So, you may have the opening statement starting with but also. Starting with but also. So, that may not be an ideal opening statement. Keep that in mind. Our job is to rearrange the given statements in an order. That's all. Right? We need not look at the, you know, perfect paragraph. Keep that in mind. Okay. So, third one, form the pairs or combinations. Form the pairs or combinations. Combinations using what? How do you form the pairs? Using pronouns and conjunctions. Using pronouns and conjunctions. Alright? Okay. pronouns and conjunctions. So, this is the strategy. Fine. So, first identify the clues and then follow the strategy, you definitely get the answer. Now, form the order and then review the order to check whether there is that perfect flow of thought or not. Am I clear? Right. Let's see. Now, let's apply the strategy and answer the question. Are you ready? Now, between these two, their capacity to lend is constrained, limited, even shrinking at a time when an economic recovery will see increasing demand for credit. So, what is this? Between these two is one clue, there is another clue. Do you understand? Fine. Then, on the other, so this is what between these two, their capacity to lend is constrained, even shrinking at a time when an economic recovery will see increasing demand for credit. Fine. Negative tone. So, you should know what are these two. Do you understand? So, how do you do it? A should be preceded by something. Between these two, those two should be mentioned earlier. Keep that in mind. Next, on the other, the burden of non-performing assets is depleting, emptying their capital, taking away their capital as they have to meet provisioning requirements. Fine. On the other, the moment you see on the other, you know they should be on one side. Right? That's a combination. That's a continuity. On one hand, on the other hand. Alright. Or on the left, on the right. So, if you read regularly, you know about these combinations, you know how we write the paragraphs using these, sentences, right? The phrases connecting the two sentences. Am I very clear? So, on the left, on the right, on one hand, on the other hand. Do you understand? So, the moment you see on the other, you can go and check if there is on one side. On one side, on the other side, or on the one hand and on the other hand. So, what can you do here? You can straight away write DB as the combination and right, that's a perfect combination. Now, let us see. On the one hand, the enhanced capital requirements imposed by the Basel III norms mean that they have to raise significantly more capital over the next 4 years. Fine. On one hand, this is happening. All right. Enhanced capital requirements, they have to raise significantly more capital, right? Raise more capital over the next 4 years. All right, this is happening. On the other, the burden of non-performing assets is depleting. So, both are negative, both are burdens on the banks. Fine. So, DB we have already decided. Next one. One of the great challenges facing the Indian economy today is the gridlock that the public sector banks find themselves in. So, negative tone. So, all these so far we have read 3 statements, all these 3 are in negative tone. Alright. So, what is this one? One of the great challenges. Don't you think this is the opening statement? Yes. Among the given ones, this is the best opening statement. So, right, what do we write? So, here we write E is the introduction. E introduction. Alright. Okay. So, let's see. One of the great challenges facing the Indian economy today is the gridlock. What is gridlock? A situation where there is no progress that the public sector banks find themselves in. So, what's the topic here? The problems faced by public sector banks. Am I clear? Fine. Now, let's read this sentence also before we connect the ideas. In the short term, the most practical solution is, when do you give the solution? After discussing the problem. Alright, okay. So, this practical solution should come after on one hand and on the other hand. Clear? Okay. For the government to infuse more capital into the system. Alright. So, we have got an idea. Fine. Let's see. Start with E. One of the great challenges facing, right, is this one. Gridlock that the public sector banks find themselves in. Right. Starting the discussion. Right. Problem faced by the public sector banks. Right. What are these problems? Next, you have to talk about them. On the one hand, the enhanced capital requirements imposed by the Basel III norms mean that they have to raise significantly more capital over the next 4 years. That's one challenge. Alright. So, D makes sense. Alright. And then on the other, the burden of non-performing assets is depleting their capital as they have to meet provisioning requirements. Fine. So, B, EDB, right. And then between these two, what are these two? On one hand and on the other hand, there are two problems discussed here. So, between these two, right, A here. Between these two, their capacity to lend is constrained, limited, again negative, even shrinking, going down at a time when an economic recovery will see increasing demand for credit, right. So, what's happening? It requires increasing demand for credit. That's also another challenge, right. So, EDBA, fine. What's after that? In the short term, the most practical solution, see, we discussed the problems, right. Economic recovery will see increasing demand for credit. In the short term, the most practical solution is for the government to infuse more capital into the system. So, the solution to these challenges is this one, all right, F, all right. And then, but, right, but here it is. So, the solution is this, but there is a constraint. What is that? The fiscal space to do this is limited. What is this again? To do this is limited. This is what? Infuse more capital into the system. You get it? This is connecting to this. You get it? Infuse more capital into the system. This is limited. Given several competing demands for capital spending. Do you follow? And it can't be F. I mean, it can't be CF. Agree? You can't write CF. Why? C is not connected to this. There is no this in the previous one. A cannot be connected to C. Keep that in mind. So, clear cut explanation is here. Clear cut combination is here. Right. This one. The most practical solution is for the government to infuse more capital into the system. Right. At that infusing more capital into the system to do this is limited. Clear? So, C closes the discussion. So, we started with a problem, discussed the challenges there, and then provided the solution, and then the problem to implement the solution. So, this is the perfect order. So, this is the order. We have successfully arranged the given statements in an order. Fine. Now, we have to answer the questions. You know that, right? What is given there in the directions? Rearrange the following 6 sentences A, B, C, D, and F in the proper sequence to form a meaningful paragraph, then answer the questions given below. So, our first step is done in answering. Now, let's go to the second step. Before I do that, let me clear the board so that you can have clarity in answering. Alright, so what do we do before we go to the questions? Best thing is what? Right, number these, right? Number these so that it's easy for you. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, this is the easiest thing to do. Now, let's see. Which of the following is the first sentence after rearrangement? Right, what is the first sentence? E is the first sentence. Alright, so answer is E. 1 is the answer. Am I clear? Which is the last sentence? Which is the last sentence? Okay, last sentence is C. So, our answer is 5. If you number them, it's easy for you. Alright. Then, which is the fourth sentence? Alright. Which is the fourth sentence? A is the fourth sentence. Alright. So, where is A? This one. Am I clear? Alright. So, our answers come to 1, 5, 2. Alright. Next one. Which is the third sentence? Alright. Third is B. Alright. Where is B? B. 4. Alright. 4 is our answer. And then last one, second sentence. Alright. Which of the following is the second sentence? Second is D. Alright. Where is D? Alright. 5. So, our answers are, if you go back and cross it, 1, 5, 2, 4, 5 are the answers. Do you understand? So, if you follow these steps meticulously, you can definitely give the answer right. Am I clear? I hope you followed my explanation. Let's apply this strategy. This will definitely help you in answering these questions correctly. Right? Thank you. And yeah, please do subscribe to our channel, Time for Bank Exams. And we give coaching to bank, SSCCGLE, insurance, railway and other related exams. And we do have other channels, Telegram, Instagram, Facebook, and all the links to all these are given in the description box. And for classroom coaching, do contact our nearest time center, and for online courses, you can enroll at this URL. I hope you understood everything. Thank you very much for watching. Keep watching for more interesting videos.